Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we are showcasing the best Nintendo game of every year from 2000 to 2024. We're only including games that were developed or published by Nintendo, and we're going off of North American release dates.
Link! This is a huge discovery!
2000, The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Making a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time was always going to be tricky, but Nintendo managed to blend familiar with the unique for the phenomenal Majora's Mask. It put Link in the strange land of Termina, where the Skull Kid planned to bring the moon crashing down in just 3 days' time. New transformation mechanics of Link's Deku, Goron, and Zora forms provided varied gameplay that was also a blast. But what has stuck with fans over the years was the game's mature themes. Nintendo tackled grief, uncertainty, love, and fear in ways no Zelda game had before, or has since. Although some were thrown off by the time loop structure, Majora's Mask has amassed a passionate following over the years. (2001) Super Smash Bros. Melee. When there are still legions of players who insist on playing this game at tournaments, despite several sequels released since, you know you've made something special. Super Smash Bros. Melee was the game to have in the GameCube's first year. The roster expanded greatly with fan favorites like Bowser and Mewtwo, as well as more obscure inclusions like the Ice Climbers and Marth and Roy, the introduction to Fire Emblem for many. Everything was faster, smoother, and more enjoyable than everything in the N64 version. On top of incredible mechanics and visuals, new modes like the single-player adventure and event matches offered new ways to play and challenge ourselves. It really is a remarkable fighter. 2002, Metroid Prime. Since Metroid skipped the N64, fans were eager to see what Samus's first 3D game would be like. Needless to say, Prime blew away their expectations. Nintendo and brand new developer Retro Studios delivered an incredible sci-fi adventure through the corrupted planet Talon 4. Although a first-person shooter, it maintained the elements, style, and difficulty that made Metroid so captivating to begin with. Uncovering the planet's past, collecting power-ups, and dealing with hostile wildlife on top of space pirate forces, it was a mesmerizing hook that kept players digging. It remains one of the best transitions into 3D we've ever seen, and began one of the franchise's most highly praised eras with several sequels. (2003) The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Although some were initially against the cel-shaded art style of Wind Waker, there's no denying the game's beauty, or how well it's aged in the 2 decades since its release. Following a new version of the hero, players set out to sail the high seas to save their sister while unraveling the larger picture they unwittingly played a part in. Paired with the wonderful art style was some of the series' best music and some of its most charming characters. Regardless of certain aspects that could test your patience, like the Triforce quest, the game nailed its exploration. Discovering a new island and what it had in store for Link made the Great Sea worthy of sinking in time. (2004) Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. In what might still be the strongest entry in the series, the Thousand-Year Door took Mario on a lovely new journey to rescue Princess Peach. Only this time, it was from the vile alien group, the X-Nauts. This game has charm and whimsy bursting out of every seam. Its writing is delightful, from its classic characters like Bowser and Peach to newcomers like Koops and Vivian. Its papercraft visuals and mechanics and its turn-based battles are simply a joy. It's honestly hard to find something to dislike. There's a good reason it has been championed as the pinnacle of Paper Mario by the fanbase over the years. It's just that good. (2005) Mario Kart DS. There are few Nintendo franchises that create a pure fun factor like Mario Kart. Being able to take it on the go was, and please forgive us for the pun, a game changer. The DS version of Nintendo's premier racer somehow packed all of the glory and addictiveness of its console counterparts into a smaller package. It controlled like a dream and looked fantastic for its time. It also had incredible tracks that have stood the test of time, like Waluigi Pinball, Peach Gardens, and Tick-Tock Clock. Additionally, it was the first game in the series to include online play. The ability to challenge friends and strangers only added longevity and kept players coming back for more. (2006) The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. A swan song for the GameCube and a launch title for the Wii, Twilight Princess was in a unique position. But no matter where you played it, you were in for a treat. It took players back to Hyrule, where an invading leader of the Twilight Realm threatened to bring darkness to the kingdom. It was darker than Wind Waker in more ways than one. While its slow start and forced wolf sections have been criticized, it was undeniably grander in scope, in the size of its world and its story. Also working in its favor were strong dungeons and boss fights, the best combat up to that point in the series, and Midna, who remains the best companion Link has ever teamed up with. (2007) Super Mario Galaxy. Since Mario had saved the Mushroom Kingdom dozens of times, Nintendo took him somewhere new for his first outing on the Wii. Super Mario Galaxy saw the hero venture into space, and it was more magnificent than we could have hoped for. It once again saw him chasing after Bowser to rescue Peach, but with help from new characters, Rosalina and her Lumas. The level design here is still just as remarkable now as it was in 2007. Every galaxy overflows with fun and creativity, making for an experience that you simply never want to end. It's also one of the earliest instances of Nintendo using a live symphony orchestra, combining the catchiness of classic Mario with sweeping grandeur. (2008) Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Although die-hard fans don't look back on Brawl as fondly as Melee, it's still more than deserving of praise. Yes, tripping is a dumb mechanic and its online functionality often struggled, but it was still tremendous fun to square off against your friends in tense matches, with new inclusions like Final Smashes just increasing the chaos. One of its biggest draws was the Subspace Emissary, an expansive story mode for single-player or co-op, which featured varied level designs, boss fights, and character team-ups that Nintendo has yet to replicate. It was also when Smash began its focus on the history of gaming, highlighting a ton of video game music throughout the years, and including the first third-party fighters, Solid Snake and Sonic. (2009) Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. Debuting in 2003, the Mario and Luigi series have a few installments worthy of the best entry title. 2009's Bowser's Inside Story is one of them. It follows the brothers after they're sucked inside Bowser, who was tricked by Fawful, a mad scientist who also takes over the Mushroom Kingdom in their absence. Everything is just as cheerfully wacky as you'd expect with a premise like that. Puzzle and battle mechanics for Mario and Luigi were fine-tuned over previous entries, as they helped Bowser from the inside. And Bowser had his own set of skills for players to enjoy as he fought against Fawful's antics. The back-and-forth narrative brought endless delight, and is still one of the funniest adventures the Mario Bros have gone on. (2010) Super Mario Galaxy 2. We know we already spoke about the first one, but when looking at Nintendo's output in 2010, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is simply the best. The developers somehow managed to catch lightning in a bottle twice. Galaxy design is just as pristinely crafted as it was the first time around, if not more so, now within a succinct world map that made jumping into levels easier. It delivers joy and excitement at every turn, not just through mechanics, scope, and design, but through music and art direction as well. Plus, we heartily welcomed the return of Yoshi, who was absent from the original, and came with new, fun-filled power-ups. It's hard to improve on perfection, but that's exactly what Nintendo did. 2011, Pokemon Black and White. With Pokemon, you generally know what you're getting into. But in Black and White, Game Freak brought just enough new to make them stand out. This was primarily seen in the story, with the sympathetic villain N, who grew up alongside Pokemon and wanted to separate them from their trainers. Even still, everything that works about the franchise was kept well intact. Battles still offered a wonderful hook, now with a few new features, and we still poured hours into training our monsters for glory. The Unova region came to life through crisp visuals that took full advantage of the DS. To this day, Black and White are still some of the most highly regarded entries in the series. 2012, Xenoblade Chronicles. Although it was released in Japan in 2010, it took a massive fan campaign to get Xenoblade Chronicles in the West in 2012, and we are eternally grateful for those fans. Set in a fascinating world with deep lore, it followed Shulk, a boy on a quest to avenge his people following a brutal attack. Not only was its story extensive and profound, but its world was full of life. And it was a visually impressive powerhouse for the Wii. Playing it was also a joy, with the battle system walking a fine, well-balanced line. It was just complex enough to be enticing to longtime JRPG fans, but simple enough for new players to wrap their heads around.
I'll take the next watch. You get some rest.
Okay, I'll try.
2013, Super Mario 3D World. In one of the best games for the Wii U, Nintendo blended the scope of Mario's 3D adventures with the chaos of his multiplayer 2D ones. Not since Super Mario Bros. 2 had the lineup offered different playstyles. Where Peach was the slowest but had the ability to briefly float, Toad was the quickest but couldn't jump as well. It added another layer onto the glorious level design that comes with every Mario game. And while playing alone was still a masterclass in delivering glee, playing together kicked everything up a notch. So long as your friends or siblings didn't drive you mad. Plus, the cat suit is one of the most useful power-ups in Mario's long career, and certainly his most adorable.
Meow.
2014, Mario Kart 8. While the Switch's deluxe version would end up surpassing it, that doesn't mean the original iteration isn't downright fantastic. Mario Kart 8 is such a strong foundation that Nintendo would coast off of it for years to come. Its visuals are immaculate, with colors that make every single course pop off the screen. And those courses are arguably the best the franchise has ever seen, whether you're racing down brand new ones or impressive recreations of classics. It's an undeniable multiplayer juggernaut, including its strong online mode that could leave you raging, as per tradition with this series. Additionally, we have to mention the flawless soundtrack, composed of multiple toe-tapping groovy jams. (2015) Super Mario Maker. Nintendo is clearly the master of platformer design, as seen in multiple Mario games. But with Super Mario Maker, it gave players the opportunity and tools to create their own levels, and it was absolutely marvelous. Those who owned a Wii U flocked to the game, and we saw unbound creativity take off. From pleasant, breezy strolls to some of the most intense platforming known to man, players endlessly impressed us with their ideas. The UI for creating your own was so simple to use, too. It was just as much fun to navigate fan-made courses as it was to obsess over our own, delighting in the possibility of connecting with other players in a brand new way. (2016) Fire Emblem Fates.
Be careful.
I'll back
With this 3DS installment, Fire Emblem took a page out of Pokemon's book and released a few different versions. But the story went in completely different directions depending on which you chose. It followed Corrin, torn between two kingdoms at war. Birthright saw them side with the one they were born in, while Conquest saw them side with the one they were raised in. However, the third version, Revelation, denounced both while revealing who was pulling the strings behind the warfare. The strength of its story varied between the versions, but complex characterization was always impressive. The developers at Intelligent Systems refined the franchise's tactical battle mechanics and implemented great world building no matter which version you played.
It's over.
2017, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Not only is Breath of the Wild the best game Nintendo released in 2017, it's one of the company's best games, period. There had been plenty of open-world action adventures before, yet this managed to take that formula and reinvent it, all while maintaining the allure of the Zelda franchise. Never before had we felt such freedom in a game to go anywhere, climb anything, and uncover Hyrule's many secrets, on the surface, as well as what happened 100 years before. Each and every corner was packed with something to draw you in, whether it be a puzzle or shrine, an eccentric NPC, a combat encounter, or just a moment of pure bliss and beauty, accentuated by lovely visuals and serene music.
And when the hero wielding the sword that seals the darkness delivered his final blow, the princess used her sacred power to seal away Calamity Ganon.
2018 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. In terms of video game celebration, it isn't likely we'll see something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate again. Amid a plethora of Nintendo characters were icons from across the medium, a historical commemoration that continued in DLC. And in their own ways, they each offered unique, impressive movesets that made them viable combatants. That's not to mention all of the stages, music, and newly introduced spirits, which pleased the game historian in all of us. On top of paying homage to the decades of important games, Ultimate never ceased on what was most important. It's just damn fun to play. And with a multitude of modes and customization options, there are so many great ways to play it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time!
2019 Fire Emblem Three Houses. Despite decades of renowned releases, many fans declare Three Houses to be Fire Emblem's finest. While the battle mechanics were as strong as ever, where it really succeeded was its story. It improved on the three storyline structure of Fates, not through separate versions, but by giving players a choice. Beginning in a time of peace between three kingdoms, players chose which kingdom's students to teach at a school, though you could recruit others to your class. Every character, from the quirkiest to the most headstrong, was superbly written. That made it so when war did break out between the three kingdoms, you felt the weight of your choices. Plus, that added a huge level of replayability.
Yes, I thought the same.
I am so sleepy once again.
2020 Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing has long been a cozy go-to for Nintendo fans. With New Horizons, the formula was perfected. On an island devoid of much personality, it gave us the opportunity to build up a community of cute critters while restructuring our new home as we saw fit. With every addition to our house, every donation to our museum, and every landscape change, we built our islands into lovely digital abodes. The level of satisfaction we gained when it all came together was unmatched within the series. Not for nothing, it was also the perfect game at the perfect time, releasing during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and giving many players something much more positive to focus on. (2021) Metroid Dread. Nintendo could brainstorm for years and never come up with a better title than Dread, because that feeling is exactly what we felt throughout the entire playtime, and we wholeheartedly mean that as a compliment. Following the re-immersion of the X-Parasite, which can copy the form of whatever it infects, Samus braves the deadly planet of ZDR in search of answers. Adding to the trouble are government-issued robots that went rogue and now hunt her with extremely deadly force. Metroid Dread is an incredible tool to test your skills against, tiptoeing right up to the line of being a grueling challenge while remaining fair and rewarding. Every boss fight and environmental obstacle is a pleasure to conquer, uplifted by flawless mechanics. 2022 Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The ability to be cute may not seem like an important selling point, but it certainly is for Kirby. The adorable pink puffball has largely stuck to 2D gameplay over the years, but with Forgotten Land, Nintendo took him to full 3D, and we loved every second of it. In a seemingly post-apocalyptic landscape, Kirby set out to rescue his kidnapped Waddle Dee pals. Popular power-ups from previous games returned with new, evolutionary features that made them more powerful. But Kirby could now suck up different objects to take on their form, like cars, light bulbs, and vending machines. Whenever these appeared, they offered some of the best aspects of their levels, heightening an already delightful adventure. (2023) The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
Breath of the Wild was the biggest success Zelda had ever seen. So, naturally, Nintendo made a sequel. Tears of the Kingdom built upon its predecessor in wonderful ways. Sky Islands offered unique challenges you couldn't get on the surface, and while the depths below could grow a bit tedious, they were still a tense environment to encounter in moderation. Of course, Link's new bag of tricks stole the show. The ability to fuse materials to weapons made for a wealth of options when facing enemies. The power to reverse time in object and enemy movement saved us a hassle more times than we can count. And the focus on building different vehicles and devices let every player's imagination run wild.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
2024 The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Many players had been begging to play as the franchise's namesake for years. With Echoes of Wisdom, Nintendo finally relented. After Link is sucked into a mysterious rift and many more appear across Hyrule, Zelda takes center stage. This is far from the only thing that makes the game great, though. It's the first new top-down entry in years, which both surprised and satisfied older fans, and brought the return of more traditional dungeons, most of which shine. Zelda's mechanics are also cause for celebration. Creating copies of various objects and enemies allowed for an untold number of solutions to any given problem, highlighting player choice. Plus, like the Link's Awakening remake before it, the visual style is endlessly charming. Is there a Nintendo gem you think should replace one of these games? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.